For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. The conversation surrounding a fourth Friday film has been ongoing ever since 2002's Friday After Next. It's possible after the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die and the anticipation surrounding Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F finally has studios ready to pull the trigger on another Friday movie. Earlier this week, Ice Cube would share an update regarding the long-awaited fourth movie during an interview with Flavor Flav on his Sirius XM show. When asked about a possible Friday 4, Cube said, "We're working on it. We finally got some traction with Warner Brothers. They have new leadership. My man Mike DeLuca, who used to be at New Line when I first did the first Friday in Players Club and All About the Benjamins, Mike was there. So now he's running Warner Brothers. And him and my man Michael Gruber was like, yo, what the F is going on with Friday? Man, let's get this back online." During the interview, Flav would mention he himself was getting frustrated with the lack of commitment from studios to finance a fourth movie. Now, as we all know, there have been several actors that were part of the original Friday that have passed, including John Witherspoon, Tiny Lester, and AJ Johnson. Because there have been quite a few deaths of several prominent characters in the Friday universe, some has used this as a reason to dismiss a fourth movie. In the interview, Flavor Flav would say, "You know, I was a little hot because they had took so long. John Witherspoon passed away. Tommy Tiny Lester passed away. Anthony Johnson passed away. I'm like, man, we keep losing people and y'all keep kicking around, not doing the movie the way it needed to be done." Ice Cube would respond with, "They want to do it, but the key is it's got to be done right, or we shouldn't F with it." So they finally came to their senses, so hopefully we can get in the process of getting that movie made. Throughout the years, there have been rumors of Chris Tucker's involvement in a potential Friday 4. Earlier this year, Tucker would speak with V103 Atlanta, where he explained what the holdup was and if he would be involved if the movie were to go into production. It's studios, and they got to want to do it, and then it's producers and all that stuff. It's a lot that goes with it. I don't know. It has to come back right because, like I said, at this point, you know, I'm only doing stuff that I know that I could do my best and I could have a lot of fun. Got to be right. Previously, it had been rumored Tucker declined to be part of the next Friday and Friday After Next because he didn't want to smoke weed and curse on screen, adopting a more family-friendly persona in addition to his religious beliefs. However, in recent years, it seems like Tucker is at least considering a return to the franchise, much to the delight of fans. When fans on Twitter caught wind of the latest update from Cube, their responses seemed to be less enthusiastic. One social media user would say, "Friday 4 coming out after 22 years is like your uncle deciding to finish a joke he started at the last family reunion. We all moved on, but sure, let's hear the punchline." While another user would write, "Ice Cube seen what Will and Martin got going on and said, it ain't never too late." Joining me is our very own John Abba to discuss this new Friday 4 that may be in production. I want to go straight into your reaction and just the reaction to the news. When you saw that this could possibly be moving forward, what was your reaction to it?
To be honest, we seen this a few days ago and I looked at it and I skipped right past it. So here at our platform, we typically look at information that comes in. We decide if it's going to be on the show. So I seen this and I was like, kind of like a little bit of everyone else of like, okay, like is this, because even if you watch it, he's not saying we starting filming in November. We're starting filming. It's more speculative, and I think the audience is just so burnt out at this point about hearing about Friday. Either we need to see that trailer, or we just need to see like Chris Tucker and you on set. Right now, it just feels more speculative, and audience, it's a slow news day, so this is what we're gonna cover. But at the end of the day, I wish that we could have like a definite excitement, a definite date.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely feeling that way of like, we've heard it before, maybe it's gonna happen. But honestly, for me, there was still some excitement because we heard Ice Cube talk about how he's gonna keep fighting for it. So just from a Black creative standpoint, I'm excited to see that Ice Cube is still fighting for it. You know, because that's somebody that has been true to the culture, especially when we look back at his work. Not everybody's work is gonna be perfect, but you know that if Ice Cube does something like this, I feel like it would be done right. So I'm just excited to see that he's still fighting, but I do
It's
understand
just,
is it gonna happen?
Is it gonna happen? It's just, there's a proper way to roll things out.
Yeah.
There's a proper way to get excitement, and I think that Ice Cube and his team has to think about that, because I've seen like some tweets being shared. Didn't get a lot of retweets because people feel like we've heard this before.
Yeah.
Cube talked about it. But I think one of my biggest issues is the fact that they do this to our content. The fact that Cube had to go and jump through hurdles and fight all this time to get someone to co-sign one of our cult classics that I think penetrates all cultures. Spanish, white, black, Asian, everybody rocks with Friday. So the fact that they treat our piece of work like this, no matter how great it is, and they're just throwing these head coaching jobs to people that are not qualified. These things I get frustrated by. Of like, when we show that we can prove the numbers, why are you still playing with us? Why are you hesitating? Why are you not throwing money up at us? Girlfriends is another example of that. Why don't they have a movie? Why do we have to keep like trying to like dance for these people to make sure that do you like us? Or are you gonna support us? So those things get tiring.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I feel like that's a norm in Hollywood, right? That's something that we've seen continuously over the years. But for our people, why do you think our people aren't excited? Like, I get we've heard it before, but still just to know that somebody's still fighting for us, to know that despite all this stuff that we have to go through, we have somebody that's in the room fighting for, different content and stuff like that. Why do you think we aren't excited? We should be, if anything, pushing him to say like, all right, like, it's been a long time, but we're going to watch. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just
I think it just goes
off.
to the fact, what I said at the top of this, we've constantly heard this story. Like, I remember us we probably look at our archives, we've done several tweets or several conversations about a new Friday, last Friday. And then you get to this point where Cube would come out and say like, hey, they're holding me back, they're not supporting it. And so now you get to a point where he didn't even give you a definitive date. He said like, yo, it's in the works, but we've heard that headline before.
But he was asked, in his defense, it's not like he's doing a press run on Friday. Like, he was asked the question. Fair. But even then, it's like, if we constantly are just upset at studios, like, we have to do our part, even when we get tired, because I'm pretty sure Ice Cube gets tired, but he's still fighting for it. So I feel like we still have to keep the excitement to show like, we're still going to back you regardless. Because if a white franchise came back, like, I don't see white people saying like, I think I used the example when we were talking earlier, like Friends, and I know that's a show, but I don't watch a lot of, their content, but just I could see them just being like, man, we can't wait. We're gonna show up. It made me think about
too, like, has there been something that our culture has got excited about? But also I wonder if we're just jaded too, because we're surrounded by a lot of disappointment. You know, you even look at the music industry with Dr. Dre and the Detox. He's been teasing that for years. And I think we just know that it's kind of like, until we see it, until we see a trailer, until we see a poster, until we see you on set, I think we've been disappointed as a people so much that it's hard to allow ourselves to continue to emotionally go there when people have disappointed us in this society that we live in.
Absolutely agree. I think that's where perseverance comes in, because the thing is, I will not take away, like, it is tiring. It is like, okay, here we go again. But it's like, what are we to do? Are we just going to give up? So I do hope, regardless of, what people are feeling, I hope they go see it regardless.
I think they'll go see it. It's just like, it's just exhausting to like, again, get excited when he didn't give me a definitive date, and we haven't seen anything produced. Chris Tucker, who I think people really want to see be a part of this, seems to be kind of like still playing his Hollywood game. I don't know if I should do it or not. So,
I don't know. For me, it's just I think people are too quick to run to the internet, because my mind starts thinking like, okay, and again, he was asked the question. But what if studios are looking at our reaction to it, and they just see a whole bunch of people like, no, like all this negative stuff? Like, that's not gonna wanna make them continue to move it forward. So yes, you can be tired, but every conversation isn't for the internet. Like, especially when we're talking about, we want to see better for our content creators. We want to see more black films backed by people that look like us, that care about the culture. Ice Cube has shown to care about the culture. When you see Ice Cube in something, it's going to be, from us. Sure. So to me, it's like, I don't want to take away from how tired we can be. I just feel like everything's not for the internet, because the studios are just the same way we see it, the way you scroll past it. For them, it's probably like, well, we can move forward. Look how the people are responding. It's probably not going to perform
So in
well.
case they're watching this, I do want to make sure that we highlight every voice. I did see some people excited about it.
Yeah.
Some people that weren't jaded or burnt out over the constant push of last Friday. I saw someone just express awesome.
Yeah.
So there are people who are excited about it. And honestly, if I saw a Friday trailer, I would feel that excitement too.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that, especially on my end, from a platform that covers this constantly,
Yeah.
it was initially like, okay, another Friday
We'll
moment.
see.
But hopefully this does seem like he's being very serious about the right people being in place to get
Yeah.
this done. So this might be the kind of the turning around of it. But I think, again, when I see a trailer, when I see someone on set, that's when I'm personally going to feel a level of like, okay, this is really happening.
Well, staying in that positive light. So, as it was mentioned in that interview, you know, we've lost a lot of people from that franchise. Even when we were talking about it beforehand, you know, we started naming people, and it's like, oh man, he's gone too. He's gone too. So, who would you want to see in it? Let's say this does move forward, which I'm going to speak that it will. Let's say this does move forward. Who are some key characters that you want to see in it? And also, do you want to see new people involved in the franchise?
You know, I might ruffle some feathers with this, but I honestly probably not want to see anybody new of this generation in there.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to ruffle feathers because I always saw Friday as a platform to like help push new people. But I think my issue sometimes is that it reads a little gimmicky. It reads a little bit like we're just going for who has the most followers and we're putting them in here, and it doesn't feel authentic to whatever the story was.
Gotcha.
So for me, I wouldn't want to see them flooded out with a bunch of new faces. Give me everyone that was in all the previous Fridays that are still with us, and at least give me Cat Williams.
Yeah.
You give me those elements, I will watch that. Of course, Chris Tucker. But to me, if Cat Williams is in that, I'm going to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I definitely agree. I don't want to see more new people than the original because
Right.
it will feel gimmicky, especially because we
We've
have
seen
been
it
waiting so
before.
long
Yeah,
for this. So I think if it gradually goes to that, that's great. Like we see that happen, but it popping back up 22 years later and all these new people, it just wouldn't feel right. Chris Tucker for sure, Ice Cube. I didn't even Cat Williams definitely, Mike Epps. And honestly, I can go down the line.
Angela Means.
Angela Means.
You can throw in Uncle Leroy, Uncle Elroy, excuse me.
Yeah. There's a couple of good ones that are still with us too. That's the key thing. Oh gosh.
Yeah. I was gonna say, ironically, I think people would feel some type of way if Tiffany Haddish was in it. I saw people's responses to her in Bad Boys.
You know who Tiffany could play, I think?
Yeah.
You remember, and I don't know the character's name, but you remember Ice Cube's girlfriend, the one that was
Played by
tell me who
Jai Parker.
So remember, she said her friend saw him in the club with somebody. She told me, now tell me who she is. I could see that Tiffany Haddish was the woman that we never saw that told.
That's a risky. That's a risky one.
Call me Ice Cube. You see how easy.
And I'm talking as a comedy fan. That's a risky one because I think
it is.
I think there's like a level of burnout when you see so much so many times, and I think to me Tiffany would be a part of that new energy that I don't necessarily want to see a part of a Friday. I think the way you do it is like, well, let's just say this is the last one. Just go ahead and make it classic. Give us like the real nostalgic piece because we saw what happened with Coming to America 2.
Yeah.
Eddie. That was like a layup. That he like airballed a layup.
But it was I feel like it was a money grab. It didn't feel true or authentic to the original story or to what we got from the first one.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was just a money grab. It didn't. Yeah, I was disappointed for sure.
It definitely I could see that for sure. I think that that's what we're trying to avoid.
And I don't think we're gonna have that issue either. Like I think with Ice Cube being in place, we heard Chris Tucker talk about it has to be done right. Like I don't feel like we would run into that. If we did, I'm probably gonna cry my
eyeballs out. If Chris Tucker is not in it,
no,
he gonna lose a lot of cool points with me.
He has to be in it. They're the two main characters. He has to be in it. But
he be kind of seem like he be a little funny about it.
But I feel like where the storyline left, it still has the potential, because remember, Chris was changing. He was supposed to go to rehab, or he was supposed to go to rehab and all things. So even if he doesn't want to curse and smoke weed, like, he still has the opportunity.
I think he should be, and I think it'll be a disservice for his brand if they do a Friday and people come back and he's not in it, and it's like some lame excuse on why he's not in. I think it will be a bad look on his resume.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be in it, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. Hopefully we get a definitive date. Hopefully they move forward with this.
Ice Cube, give us a date.
Yeah, well,
don't talk about Friday till you got a date.
He was asked
of like, yo, we starting to film in 2025. No more speculatives. No more it might happen, because I want people to be excited about it. It's one of our greatest piece of cinema in black comedy. So let's give it its proper respect. And I think what has happened is that we just all naturally have become a little jaded, because it's like, all right, fam, y'all been talking about this for the last 4 years, 5 years.
But that's not on him. That's studio. So people still show up. Let's watch this one. Hopefully it does move forward. But thank you for joining me in on this topic. You have heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you guys think about a potential Fourth Friday movie? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. I'll see y'all in the comments. Stop being tired.